Hi, my name is Alicia Rancifer, and this is my video submission for the Disposition Self-Assessment. So the first question in the self-assessment is, what dispositions do you possess that you think will make you a successful teacher? So some of the dispositions that I think that I possess, definitely high expectations. I always expect the best out of everybody. I always want everybody to put their best foot forward. And I think in a teaching environment, that's going to come in handy because that's what you want your students to do. You want your students to always make sure that no matter how hard they may think it is or how hard it may seem, that they're always giving it their best effort because you never know until you try. And when you try, you always want to make sure it's the best that you can give. I also think that I possess curiosity. I always want to know, I always want to ask those higher order questions. I always want to know, like, what's going on? Like, why don't you think you can do this? Or, okay, so if you did it this way, how else can you do it? Or how else do you think you can get this answer? What are your thoughts on this type of literature? Or what did you think about the book that we read or the short story? I always want to know their thought process and how they came up with that thought process as well. And another disposition that I definitely think I possess is the respecting of, the different diversities within the classroom. I grew up in a very multicultural environment in high school. There was very many different races, ethnicities, cultures. So I definitely am respectful of those cultures. I definitely do understand how different students come from different cultures and how your cultures can affect your learning and even how your economic situation can affect your learning. And I'm very respectful of that. I'm very willing to be like, hey, I understand. Let's figure out how we can help you in the best way. The next question is, what dispositions do you need to work on before you enter the classroom as a first year student? So definitely, I think that some of the dispositions that I would have to work on, maybe my reflection. I have a tendency, like, once it's done, it's done. Okay, like, we talked about it, let's go, let's move on. And I have a problem realizing that most people kind of need to dwell on it, need to be like, okay, like, yeah, we talked about it, but like, let's reflect on what we talked about because I think I might feel a certain different way or I might not understand it. So that's definitely something that I think I would have to work on. Also, maybe professional conduct. I am also very young, so my mindset is young. So, I'm going to always want to be like, hey, like, let's have a good time. We're in school. I understand, like, me being in school, having those teachers like drag on and on in classes. Like, this is no fun. I don't want to do this. I didn't understand at the time that that was them being professional. I understand that now, but still, it's kind of hard when you're young and then you're in that environment around those young people. You kind of want to relate to them, and you can't always relate to them, especially with like the clothes I wear. Like, I might want to come to work and rip jeans and a crop top, and I can't do that because then my students are going to be like, well, she comes to work, like, she can come here like this. Why can't I? So that's definitely another thing that I would have to work on. And then the last question is, what qualities should professionals, educators display? I definitely think professional educators should be honest. They should be fair. They should definitely display a sense of advocacy. They always should advocate for their students. They should always fight for their students, especially if their students are like, hey, I feel like this is wrong. I feel like I'm being done wrong. Because we are a home away from home for those kids. So in a sense, if we're not advocating for them, then who is going to advocate for them, especially if they're not getting it at home. You definitely want to be fair. You don't want to treat anybody better or than the next. That creates a divide. And then that kind of labels you as like not a good person. Your students are going to be like, well, I really don't like her because sometimes she's nicer than me and she's way nicer to this person. And I feel like it's because this, that, this or that. So that's definitely something that you should display, and the basics: respect of the diversity, the professionalism, um, you compassion for sure. You always want to be compassionate with your students. You do not want to make them feel like that they're unimportant or like when they come and confide in you or like they can't come and confide in you. You definitely want to make sure that, you're compassionate to the point where your student's like, hey, I like am going through these things, like I don't know what to do, because if they don't have anybody to turn to, you don't know what they might turn to. So you always want to have that open. Just be open to that. Be compassionate, be sweet, be kind to them, say like, hey, I understand. I was that age once. I know what you're going through.